Zac, Alex, and Catherine in the morning.
Oh, God. I didn't know where that was going.
Hello, I'm Cath.
I'm Alex.
I'm Zac.
And Echo's here too. You might hear some snuffling. No, that was Zac saying woof. I don't know. I didn't know if they could tell. Yep. You know, it's hard without visuals. Welcome to our podcast. We are going to be talking about a buddy read today, Picnic at Hanging Rock. So Alex and I were recommended this by who? Heaps of people said if you've read Shirley Jackson and loved her, you should read.
I think I just wanted to read Picnic at Hanging Rock.
Well, I wanted to read it too, but I'm sure someone said like it's the gothic, like the sort of gothic Australian version. Which it sort of is. It's pretty fucking weird, but I don't know. It was a bit different to me, but I enjoyed it.
So, are we talking about spoilers?
I think we talk about it in general, and then the second part.
It's kind of hard to talk about this book
especially the
spoilers.
Chapter. So, can I feel like I'm talking too much already, but can I talk about the 18th chapter, or do you want to? Because you actually were the one who told me about it.
Yeah, okay.
Is that not a spoiler? Talking about the 18th chapter?
I'm not going to talk about what happened, just the fact that when Joan Lindsay went to publish this book, her publisher,
what year was that?
67, it was published.
67?
Her publisher, or her editor, can't remember which one, editor maybe, said to her, book is great, I think it's better without the final chapter.
Correct.
Which was the 18th chapter,
well, hang on,
as
hold
it
on.
came to be known. And so she published the book without, and on the condition that it would be published posthumously. So after she died, she wanted the original ending as she had intended to be out in the world. And so all three of us read Picnic at Hanging Rock, and then we also read the 18th chapter.
The Secret.
Which some say ties up the mystery and gets rid of the ambiguity that was left at the beginning of the original novel, but at the end of the original novel rather. But yeah, I'm not sure about that.
But let's get to that. Like I think we'll definitely talk about spoilers in the second half of this. But like I think every Australian I've spoken to seems to know this book. I didn't know it.
I'm not sure if they necessarily know the book.
Well, they know the movie.
The film
yeah, a lot of them said they were forced to watch it at school or read it at school.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Whereas I'd heard
it's a classic. It's an Australian classic. Yeah.
It's like the Shirley kind of thing.
It's more famous than the Shirley.
Yeah.
What's the Shirley?
Exactly.
Oh. You're a mean old dad. It's all right. It's an Australian classic, Alex. Come on.
Oh, okay. Yeah, keep up.
So what's Joan Lindsay's story? I don't really know anything about her. Did she publish? I know she published a couple of other books.
I don't really know much about her either.
I don't really know much
cool.
about her
This
either.
is a great podcast. Enjoy
well,
everyone.
you asked the question. Yeah. We did not do that amount of research.
I'm going to put it out there and everyone can just think about it for a few minutes.
Sure.
Anyway, so what did you think?
I guess the other bit of intrigue about this book is the dedication at the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
Where Joan Lindsay writes, "Whether Picnic at Hanging Rock is fact or fiction, my readers must decide for themselves. As the fateful picnic took place in the year 1900 and all the characters who appear in this book are long since dead, it hardly seems important." And so there was kind of, I think, an element when it came out of people cross-referencing the details in the book with old stories in newspapers and trying to see whether it really was based on a real case. How closely, who knows, but...
and it's definitely written as being true, because there's even at one point there was even a footnote about how long a character actually lived. Like, this person died in 19 something or other.
Well, and Hanging Rock is a real place, so you can go there. Yeah,
but it's definitely written to make people think it's a true story.
Yeah, there's footnotes. There's even a couple kind of newspaper articles.
Right. It's done quite well.
So yeah, it is done. It is.
You need to watch the movie. Yeah.
So when you were talking about, do we know much about Joan Lindsay? No, I don't. But one of the things I was thinking about after reading this book was I would be very open to reading another book by Joan Lindsay, because I actually quite enjoyed this book. It was very readable, I thought.
It was very readable.
Yeah.
I just remembered...
I still don't have a clue what happened in the end. So.
Yeah, well, I've just remembered another fact. I wish I knew where I had read this, but I have heard that another one of the reasons her editor gave for wanting to leave the final chapter off was that she thought without it the book would be better. Like, it had already been optioned for a movie, and the Australian film industry was kind of just
that makes sense.
Coming to exist, really, I guess, at that time. And yeah, obviously it went on to become a film by Peter Weir and is very well known and beloved. And but yeah, I think basically they also thought it would make a better film if it was written this way, which I think is really interesting because, I mean, they could adapt the book and make it however they wanted. Like, they didn't need the book to be the exact blueprint, but I guess maybe at that time.
Interestingly, I think if that decision was made today, they would definitely include the last missing chapter.
You reckon?
I don't know.
I do. I think that's a very modern.
They would just say to. Oh,
concept,
you mean? I see.
The missing chapter to the end. I think
it did feel very modern.
Yeah.
It felt very out of place.
It did.
And some people even contest whether it's real. Some people think it is a hoax. Like, some people think it's kind of a hoax to stir up interest in the novel once she died. Because a lot of people have read it and, you know, don't think that the style matches up exactly to what was in the rest of the book. I think it does. Like, I certainly didn't have that thought when I was reading, but the content is bizarre. I agree. It's really left field. But I thought stylistically, I never read it and went, oh, that's not Joe
It was
Lindsay.
absolutely her voice.
Yeah.
If it's a fake, someone's faked it really, really well.
Yeah, very convincingly.
Well, and I mean, anyway, we'll get to the chapter. But so essentially, for people who don't know, it's a book about a sort of a private school in the what year-ish?
1900?
1900.
And they decide to go on a picnic to Hanging Rock. The clue's in the name there. And it's what did Zac say? How dangerous it was. He kept laughing because they're like, there's snakes and there's spiders and it's really dangerous. And they all go and have a picnic and they're all wearing their like dresses and frocks and whatever, and then a group of them go missing, and you know then after they go missing, that happens fairly early on, people are just basically trying to put together the pieces and figure out what happened to them, try and find them, and there's a lot of sort of there's a lot of ripples in the community itself about, you know, trying to find these girls and people being suspected, and that's making it sound more of a murder mystery than it is. It's sort of just,
Well, it's funny you should say that, because I read this book as a murder mystery, especially at the end. And I know we'll talk about that later, but it's really hard to talk about this without spoilers.
Well, we can talk about it with spoilers in a bit, but...
Well, we are at 7 minutes and we want to do about 15, so shall we get into spoiler territory?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you want to. I just want to talk about how much I was shipping Albert and...
Oh, a lot. Albert and Mike.
There was such gay subtext in like a beautiful way. I was like, he's obsessed with him. I love this.
But you know, that subtext becomes text they did an adaptation in the 2010s of Picnic at Hanging Rock as a TV show. And it has, is it Natalia or Natalie?
Imbruglia? No, I'm joking.
No, the one from Game of Thrones. It's Dormer? Natalie? I think it's Natalie Dormer.
Ned Stark? Or...
Are you trying to derail me? Or anyway, and I think they actually explore that subtext a lot more in the
it's
show.
So there, right?
Yeah, Albert and Mike.
That's
if you know, you know.
In Natalie Dormer,
Natalie Dormer,
2018 miniseries.
That was my favourite, their relationship and how much they like this. So essentially, it's this really like this farmhand kind of guy with not a lot of money and not a lot of class, and then someone who's the opposite, and they become friends and just hang out. And they were there when the girls went missing, and they saw them before they went missing, so they were out there picnicking, and then they get it in their minds that they want to try and find the girls. And you know,
Natalie Dormer was the headmistress.
That's so interesting to me.
That's
that doesn't
bizarre.
feel right at all.
Can we talk about the headmistress? Who's such a bitch. She's such a bitch.
Yeah, I don't think that TV show is like very well regarded as an adaptation, but it is interesting, like that so many years later it's still kind of a thing of fascination for people. Yeah.
And the fat shaming in this book? Like, did you see, how many girls did you see? I saw 3 girls. Well, hang on, no, there were 4. And he goes, oh yeah, I guess I just didn't think about the little fat one. Like, there were so many
making it out to be a much larger element of the book than it was.
All right, I'm going to put a lot of quotes in this because there's so much fat shaming. And then the principal's like, oh, I wish... why did this girl have to go missing? Why couldn't it have been the little fat one? I was like, oh my God! And she wouldn't have even been fat. You know
but she wasn't saying why couldn't Edith have gone missing because she is fat. She was using fat as a descriptor for Edith, but she wanted Edith to go missing because she wasn't remarkable compared to the other young women that went missing and that would have been real assets to the school. Like, I think you kind of
like the little fat one.
Not like the fat one.
Exactly.
I don't know, it just made me feel sad. I was like, this poor girl. And she just, the principal made me laugh a few times.
Can I talk about the headmistress? Because I think the headmistress is a sociopath. And I have some suspicions that the headmistress is responsible for murder in this book. Yeah. I do. I'm not exactly sure if she's responsible for the girls missing at Hanging Rock.
Have we said spoiler alert? Have we made it clear?
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Okay.
Spoiler alert. Yeah.
I don't think that's necessarily the case, although I do have questions about that. But the girl who died at the college, Sarah something or other, I think she was absolutely murdered by the headmistress.
Well,
and then the headmistress at the end, maybe because she got found out or something, maybe that was why she went to Hanging Rock and jumped off the rock. But because the girl was found at the college at the base of a tower or something.
Yeah.
And I know, Alex, you were saying that you thought that maybe she jumped off the tower.
That's what people think.
Sure. So why did the headmistress lie about her being collected by a man? So just before that all happened,
to avoid bad press for the school. Like, I think that was her whole thing. She's very...
And all the...
I don't necessarily disagree that she's sociopathic. She was very, like, image obsessed, and she wasn't really concerned for the girls. She was concerned about the effect that their disappearance would have on the school.
And it had a lot. Heaps of parents were taking their kids out.
Sorry. The girl who died at the end, Sarah,
okay,
the headmistress was lying about what happened to her before anyone had found her body, before anyone had known... I can't remember one of the groundskeepers, I can't remember whether it was Tom or someone, found her body in the school and then went to tell the headmistress. The headmistress had already told the story about Sarah disappearing with a strange man before Tom found Sarah dead. Do you see the flaw in the plot there? Like, why would you lie? Why would the headmistress say...
Because you know she's going to be found. If you know she's going to be found, then why would you not lie? Like, and kind of establish an alternate story from the beginning.
That's my point. You know, why does the headmistress know her dead body's going to be found?
Wasn't it in the garden?
I don't know. I would have to...
She must have, because the only reasonable explanation is she killed her. And also because at that stage in the book, there's a few people commenting about how the headmistress is an alcoholic and has a terrible rage as well. And there's a scene where she fiercely kicks something under the table after a discussion goes wrong. And then that's all leading up to her lying about Sarah disappearing, but being picked up by a man who wasn't her official carer. And then a few pages later, the young girl was found dead at the school.
See, I saw it more that she was just negligent of Sarah by this stage, because Sarah hadn't paid her school bills and she didn't give a fuck.
So why is she lying to people about Sarah being picked up by a man?
It's not fresh enough in my mind to be able to... Like, I don't remember how exactly that unfolded, but I remember thinking that, like, Sarah had missed that that letter from the woman that would have cared for her and paid her bills and supported her art career or whatever, and she thought she had no prospects and no hope. She was feeling very despondent. It seemed very obvious to me that she had killed herself, but I would probably need to reread that sequence.
That's the point, because at one stage, the mademoiselle or whatever, she's being interviewed by the police or talking to someone, and she's saying how she knew there was something not right about the story the headmistress was telling, because...
Sorry, Echo's sneezing.
The person who would normally come and pick up Sarah was a gentleman, would always announce himself. It was so weird that he would just turn up mysteriously and take her without saying anything to anyone. And there's this whole...
But we didn't meet the gentleman? I thought we did.
There's about 5 or 6 pages in there where it's talking about this weird episode where Sarah is picked up by some person and the headmistress tells everyone it was her carer, the gentleman. But a letter comes later from the gentleman saying, I'm sorry, I've been in Western Australia.
That's
I'm ready to come and cover my bills and pay for material for my... for the child. So, and then shortly after that, she's found dead. Not by the headmistress, by Tom or someone like that.
Yeah, so it's an interesting theory. I hadn't thought of that.
So the idea of her, Sarah, killing herself makes sense if there wasn't this weird cover-up that the headmistress was...
But why did she just leave her in the garden? Like, it's not like the body was covered up in the garden. Like, what, she just made it look like she...
Also, her head was, like, smashed in as well.
Because she fell from the tower.
Yeah, but I actually think there's a line in there about how her body was still in quite good condition, but her head was smashed in. Yeah. And also, I was thinking about this further. It's a boarding house from the 1900s. It's not going to be 6 or 7 stories. At most, it's probably going to be a couple of stories. Maybe the tower's a 3-story tower. So it's not like she's jumping from a particularly high height that your head gets smashed in either.
Well, if she had landed on like a rock or something.
If she'd landed head first on a rock, maybe. But there's plenty of other ways you can land if you jump off a building and all that kind of thing. So
I mean, I didn't read... I mean, that's really interesting. I didn't read into it like that. Like, I kind of... Because, throughout the book you see that dickhead goes away and then his house sets on fire and he dies. And then there's all these deaths and horrible stuff that seems to surround everyone who had some... Oh, my God. Echo just keeps sneezing.
Yeah, but remember, we had this discussion. That's not true because some of the people come out of the story way better off.
Bless you.
Than they did.
What, that Albert does?
Yeah, he's way better off.
But who else?
And Tom and Minnie end up taking over Albert's job, and they end up having a lovely little cottage in
that's true.
Property and the like. So it's not. That's.
But they were kind to the girls, I suppose, right? They were the ones who were kind.
Mademoiselle, to them. She's getting married and living. She finally gets freedom from the college. Yeah. And she goes to marry the guy down in Melbourne. Like that's. It's not like everyone's curse. There's only, if you're talking about a curse, only very particular people get mucked over by this. So that's why I understand the whole concept. There's a scandal around the school and it's all that kind of stuff. And it's clear the school's going down the drain because of everything that's happened. I don't know. But I read it most recently out of the three of us, and the last 4 or 5 chapters in particular just really struck me as very, very odd and not how I remembered the movie at all. And I would like to go and watch the movie again.
I'd be keen to watch it too.
But it just seemed like it was building up to there's something really not right about the headmistress. And you don't really get that vibe at all for most of the book, but towards the end, it's just like all this stuff seems to come out about it.
I mean, I sort of saw it more that she loses more and more control throughout the book. She's very uptight and prim, and you have to wear your gloves until you pass this point, and you're going there, and these are the rules, and this is what it looks like, and this is my college. You will be respectable, so on. And so then throughout all of this, she just loses any control, with the media, with the press, with the parents taking the girls out, and she knows the school's already struggling. And so people like Sarah, who don't pay their bills and don't come from wealthy families and can't afford art supplies or whatever, they take away from that, so they're not worth her time. So
aren't you describing more motive for her to
well, that's how do you solve that problem?
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
you're getting angry, you're maybe drinking more, you've got this girl who's a drain on your finances, everyone's against you.
But the girl, she was going anyway. He was going to come pick her up, wasn't he? Oh, no, but she'd been forgotten about.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, yeah.
The letter arrived afterwards.
Shit, there you go.
Yeah.
To be honest, I'm still on the what the fuck happened to the girls. I'm like, sorry, Sarah.
It's interesting because I do remember, when the letter came afterwards, I kind of read it as hammering home the tragedy, she would still be alive if only this had come a little bit earlier, rather than, kind of leaving this breadcrumb to make you suspicious. But it's interesting because you could read it either way, I guess.
Yeah, but again, none of that explains this story that the headmistress made up about her being picked up.
But I just thought she was drunk and was like, she probably got picked up. But that's interesting.
Not at all. It was the headmistress was very clear about what happened.
Well, was Sarah fat?
And all the people who knew the gentleman and the headmistress were all like, this doesn't make any sense. It's weird that this would have happened in this way.
Well, for our listeners out there, if you have read Picnic at Hanging Rock, we need to know your theories.
Yeah, I'd love to. I need to go back over those last few chapters, I think.
And it'd be interesting to see how the movies do it too, because there's this miniseries and the movie, maybe 2 movies, I don't know.
Just the one movie, I think, the Peter Weir movie.
I loved how British it was too. Like some of the, I actually took a photo of some of the quotes. They made
me laugh so much.
What
about some of the Australian quotes though from Albert?
Oh, he would just be like, "Shut your trap."
He has some very good Australianisms. Bobby Dazzler.
Oh yeah, that's right, Bobby Dazzler. There's this one bit and it made me laugh so much. What's all this poppycock about being too English? Asked the Colonel, emerging from the shrubbery with the spaniels. How the deuce could a person be too English? It's just there are a few things that made me laugh.
Family Guy reference there.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, and one thing I took a photo of too.
What the deuce?
Henceforth, the Daily Crooked...
That was my Stewie impersonation, by the way, from Family Guy.
You'll have to run that back, everyone.
No, I just love the language too. She used this bit. Henceforth, the daily crocodile of girls in their summer uniforms and ugly straw hats wound its way 2 and 2 along the Bendigo High Road. I love that, the daily crocodile of girls. And at first I was like, what? But it's so visual and you can see the sort of spines of the crocodile and the way they...
So much of her writing was really visual. I've been
visual.
to that part of the world before, and she just describes it so beautifully.
She talked about nature a lot, though, like beetles and stuff. And I'm like, we get it. There were a lot of spiders.
Point. Like, that's the point.
Yeah.
You know, it's that kind of Australian Gothic, very colonial. Like, it kind of... Even though... I mean, I think there's like one mention of an Indigenous character. The black tracker. Yeah. I don't know. It's kind of like reckoning with the legacy of that all the time. Like, you kind of feel the presence of what was here before in the fact that they're absent on the page, and like the way that the girls and the headmistress, like the headmistress who is the leader and so domineering, she's also so uncomfortable and alien in this landscape, and terrified and yeah, it's kind of reckoning with that colonial legacy all the time. Like, I thought it was really interesting.
There's a lot of commentary on class as well.
Yeah, so totally.
Well, and the fact that she chose to kill herself at Hanging Rock, she'd never even been there before. That was the first time she'd been there, and that's where she decided to kill herself. Like, it's quite an interesting...
Or did she kill herself? Or did she end up in the fourth
Well, let's
dimension?
talk about the fucking final chapter.
All right.
What is this?
I know. We're supposed to be,
sorry.
This is going on too long.
No, that's okay. No, but it's
important.
So this final chapter, if you haven't read it, I suggest you stop now. Blue Mountains Library has it. It's called The Secret of Hanging Rock. It's just a tiny little book, and it has some people's ideas and thoughts and academics and stuff, but it has the chapter. It's only, a couple of pages long. Pause listening, go read it, because it's fucking weird. Basically, and now spoiler, it goes into like sci-fi. It's like they walk into a parallel universe. No, they take off their bras, which hang and float in space, and then the girls one by one follow...
They're corsets.
Yeah, corsets.
Oh,
yes.
sorry.
Yeah, come on.
Sorry, yeah, I wasn't making it, but yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Take it, anyway, they see, was it a brown one who's first a snake, but then she turns into a small woman, and she says, follow me through this hole.
Yeah.
I'll knock on the other side when I go through. They walk through and they hear this like knock, and then one of them follows, but then the final person doesn't knock.
Doesn't hear a knock.
And then just stays there and dies.
Yeah. No, that's the one who comes back.
Yeah,
but she doesn't.
They don't knock for her.
Yeah, so she's just like
rude.
Like, I'd just go through, honestly. Like,
would you?
No, if you've been waiting that long, what's going to happen?
Well, they've died or gone to another dimension or something. You would want that.
I don't know, YOLO, you know?
So also in the book, why does Uma never speak about what happened?
Well, she doesn't remember. Remember, she doesn't remember a thing.
But is that true though? Like,
well, because you'd sound like insane.
Also, what about the teacher who went missing? Where's she?
They never said that.
Yes, she's the clown woman that
is
talked about in the chapter, but none of them recognise her. And all the commentary, if you read it, they're like, well, the clown woman is obviously Miss McCraw or whatever her name is. But she's become unrecognisable to the girls, and so it's clear that they've entered this like weird, this just totally weird liminal state where like they're not connected with reality at all. But like there's no one else. Miss McCraw went missing.
Yeah. They found her knickerbockers.
There's no one else that clown woman could be. It's strange that she's being described in that way, but that's clearly who it's meant to be.
Isn't the clown woman the one who leads them into the hole?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Miss McCraw leads them...
Yeah.
That's what's weird.
What?
Because there are people who talk about it being perhaps an indigenous thing, like it's the sort of time isn't linear and it sort of becomes like connecting to the land, and it's about the impacts of colonization. Like there's so many theories about this weird chapter.
But that would be weird to me because, as Alex said, as far as I can tell, there's not a single First Nations concept in the entire published book. So why would the mysterious final chapter be the one where it suddenly delves into... I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a very good decision to remove the chapter. And I think even the people who a lot of people have talked about reading the 18th chapter and feeling like it ruined the novel for them. I don't think it ruined the novel for me, but I think the only reason that anyone else has an appreciation for this chapter, especially, is because of the whole, it was released later, it was controversial, like it's sort of all about the I mean, the mystery surrounding it rather than the content itself, because the content is just
social
weird.
Media buzz.
I can't imagine it would have been well received at the time. Like, had it come out at the time, I think it would have really confused audiences then. Like, it's really strange. It's strange even to read now.
I had more questions. Like,
yeah, I know.
But I mean, there's a lot of, like, there's someone, a scholar who's broken it down and saying it's like the dreaming, that the land and the rock has a, you know, it's...
But would Joan Lindsay have...
In 1967.
No. When then there's other people talking about Jung and the unconscious. Like, there's all these theories, but I don't know. It's so weird because the whole book, there's nothing even remotely sci-fi or ethereal about it. Like, the rock itself is, and they sense that, but there's nothing that... And then all of a sudden, this final chapter, it's like...
I think there's
parallel universe, time and space.
About it.
No, absolutely.
No, about the book, about the rock.
The ethereal concept is throughout the entire book.
Whole thing. Yeah,
I agree. It has this mystical
I don't think
feeling
it's 100%. I don't think it's ever so explicitly sci-fi as in that final chapter, but I think the whole thing is kind of imbued with that like ethereality, magical, mystical.
Sentence is dripping with that.
Yeah, totally. But I think that's the point.
It like nods to it, but it doesn't.
No, I don't think so at all. Like,
Yeah, okay. Yeah, all right, fair enough. I mean, I guess it's more that it was explicitly sci-fi.
Yeah, that's
whereas the rest of it was kind of
I agree
suggested.
with you. There's no sci-fi concepts.
And then all of a sudden, this chapter is so heavily sci-fi.
Yeah,
it's
well,
Alex. Okay,
part one of our podcast about Picnic at Hanging Rock.
Yeah, but part two. Well, we'll watch the movie and talk about it. But we'll try and keep this short because I know they can go on. But honestly, recommend reading this final chapter because it's friggin' weird.
Yeah, I was also listening to so the last one that we put up was about Box Hill, and the one before that was about Wuthering Heights, which was like 2 or 3 months ago now. And at the end of it, we were like, oh, we'll try to do this more regularly. So I think we should actually try to do this more regularly and just talk about what we've been reading. We don't always have to have read the same thing, but I think it makes for a really interesting discussion when we have, obviously. But
and we're all reading. I've just finished, and Alex loves, and Zach's reading Eliza Clark, Boy Parts. Yeah. So if anyone wants to read that and hear what we think, it's sort of fucked up in the best way. I think would be.
I'm really enjoying it so far. It's good. Great
vindication.
Yeah, it's good. All
right.
Well, thank you so much for being a friend of Rosie. We really appreciate you, and we'll send this out soon.
Catch you next time.
Bye.
Later.
Bye.